our speaker today is going to be the courage to surrender. And I'd like to introduce for you Shona Broyles, and she's a mother of 3 beautiful adopted children. Ryan is 14, Jasmine is 12, and Bryant is 10. Her husband and love of her life for 25 years, Dean, is the president of the National Center for Law and Policy, which is a nonprofit legal organization defending faith, freedom, and family. Shona was actively involved in Mops with her children when they were young and coordinated a group in Rancho Bernardo. And currently she's homeschooling through the Classical Academy, where she's also employed as a teacher of history and helps write a curriculum. So let's welcome Shona.
This is good. Hey, this is so fun to be with you. My friend Denise, she actually co-coordinated that Mops group with me, and we met at Mops, and that was a long time ago, 14 years ago, and it's we talk about it all the time. It's some of our favorite memories. So we love Mops, and I remember being kind of annoyed sometimes because every time the speaker got up, they would be like, okay, now this is just the best season. You have to just embrace it. It goes so fast. I mean, it was like every single person, but here I am to say again. We were talking about, oh my goodness, it's the funnest season of life. I like to joke that I made this up, there's 3 stages of parenting. There's the keep them from killing themselves stage, and then there's the, yes, I know, which you guys are embracing right now. And then there's the keep them from killing each other stage. If you have siblings, you will soon be moving into that one. And then the keep from killing them stage, right? So that can really morph into any stage, but maybe it gets more pronounced when they become teenagers. So my youngest, Ryan, Denise and I were just joking, he was really determined to kill himself at this stage. So he had a nickname, we called him Swirly Boy, because any chance he got, he had his head in the toilet. So I'm not kidding. And he would blow bubbles in there. So disgusting. In fact, one time I'm putting on my makeup and I looked down and I had forgotten that I had put the blue, cleaner in the toilet. So sure enough, Ryan sticks his head in and I grab him by the feet. I'm holding him upside down because I'm like, he's gonna get that stuff in his eyes, So I'm running, we have a pool, and I'm running outside and I'm like seriously dunking his I have a million funny Ryan stories because he was just crazy. I gave him 10 minutes unsupervised, and he's a goner. He's just a little goner. So I remember how exhausting it was, but I look back and it was the sweetest time. To have time to talk, we would strap him in the car seats and we'd go get Starbucks and, drive around so that, because they were contained and he didn't have time. But I look back and once they start school, it's not your time. You don't get that time with them anymore, and it's all their schedule, and you don't get time with your friends like this anymore. I know it seems weird, but you really don't. You don't get time to. My neighbor has little ones, and we have a pool in our backyard. I never ever get to sit and enjoy my pool, but she brings her kids all the time with her friends, and I remember that season where you're trying to keep them entertained, but it's fun for you too, right? So embrace it and enjoy it, and it goes fast, and you'll look back and think, what a sweet time that was. And Mops is the greatest. I just love Mops. So it is an absolute pleasure to share with you today. And I'm going to share a testimony it's kind of a story God has given us in our life that taught me about surrender. And in a new way, in a new powerful way. So I'm hoping that it will be a blessing. I'm going to pray that real quick over us, that God will use it to His glory. And let's just pray for a second. Heavenly Father, I just thank you so much that you are at work in each life in this room. Lord, you have good plans for us. And sometimes we hold so tightly to our own that we miss it, Lord. We miss the plans you have for us. And I just thank you for your relentless love and your constant calling, and if we just are willing to lay down, how you will take those little loaves and fishes and do something beautiful with them, Lord. And I pray you give the women here courage to do that with you today, and use this talk, use my humble broken vessel to just communicate your greatness, your glory, Lord, and how good you are in our lives. So thank you for this opportunity. In your name we pray. Well, a little background on me. I grew up in a wonderful home. I mean, I didn't realize, sometimes you don't realize how wonderful until you hear a lot of other stories of people who didn't have that gift. And my mom was a Mops mentor when I started Mops, and she's an amazing, amazing person. She modeled, my mom and dad both modeled what it is to love Jesus, and that's really all I wanted as a kid. I had seen that modeled really well, and I wanted to love him and trust him, and I chose as my life verse fairly young. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make those paths straight. And I really found that if I trusted God and I obeyed him, I got these awesome straight paths and blessings. So that was kind of, I was like, well, this is a no-brainer. I'm going to try to obey God and enjoy your straight paths and blessings. And so now God was really faithful to do that for me. I went to Westmont College and met the man that my dad had told me to pray for my husband, and he said, pray that he will be wise and pure. And I had done that since the time I was about 8. And I met Dean, and you could not possibly pick 2 better adjectives for him, wise and pure. Dean Neese will tell you that. And God honors those prayers, and I encourage you to have your little people pray for their mates someday. Think about what qualities you hope they will have, and especially in this world, purity is a huge one, right, as they go through teenage years, and just praying for that for them. So anyhow, I met my husband, and we got married, and he got called to go to law school to do what he's doing now, and it was a pretty miraculous story how that happened. We were trying to obey God. He had really just fasted and prayed and said, God, I'll do anything with my life. What is it? So both of us really wanted our lives to be God's. You know, whatever you want with our lives, God, that's what we want for our lives. And so he went to law school and then started his own law practice, and I started teaching. I'm a teacher by trade, and we were just like, wow, this is so great. We obey God, and we get these nice straight paths. So we decided it was time to have children, and found out that after about a year and a half of taking your temperature, ovulation test, hanging upside down after intercourse, that was fun. You know. We went to the doctor, and they said, yeah, it's not going to happen unless you do in vitro. And we, you know what, it was great because I really trusted God with that immediately. I didn't grieve it really, like I know some people really grieve, and I totally understand that, but I just knew, you know, God, you have a plan, and I'm just going to trust you, and we'll adopt, and that's great. We didn't really want to do in vitro, and so we put in our paperwork to adopt, and literally like 2 weeks afterwards, we got a call, met the birth mom and birth father, and 2 weeks after that, we had a baby boy. I know, isn't that incredible? I know. I'm like, this adoption thing, yeah, this is a breeze. I don't know what the, you know, this is awesome. I have this precious baby boy. I walked into, my mom was the Mops mentor that year. It was so sweet because I didn't think I was going to get a baby that fast. And I ended up as a table leader with a 6-week-old baby, not having a clue about being a mom because I had really not even had 9 months to prepare my heart or mind. And it was awesome. It was such a blessing. And he was just a beautiful and amazing blessing. So when it came time to adopt our next baby, about a year and a half later, we were completely surrendered. We just said, God, you know what? There's so many kids who need a home out there. We have been blessed with a lot to give, you know, parenting-wise, and you just bring us to the child you want, and we will adopt any baby. You know, just we need to know it's you. So not too much longer after that, my husband came home. He'd met somebody who was trying to get people to adopt embryos because, I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but there's so many embryos in frozen storage, and because of all the in vitro, I think at that time, that was a lot of years ago, it was 700,000 frozen embryos, and we thought, wow, you know, and I believe those are babies, so we prayed about it, and in fact, I was reading the Bible at the time, and I was in Isaiah, and the morning I was praying about it, the verse was, let's see if I can find it because I'm way off my notes here, but in Isaiah, I want to quote it correctly. from the time, you whom I've upheld from the time you were conceived and carried since my birth. It was in my Bible that morning when I was praying about it, and I went, conceived just jumped off the page, and I went, whoa, okay, God, this is, you know those little babies, and you want them to have a chance at life, and if that's what you want me to do, we're all in. So we started down that road, and God bless any of you who have done in vitro, because it is a whole nother world. It's really amazing, emotionally, physically, financially, the whole thing, you're all in. But we went through the whole adoption process and adopted 8 embryos. You have to go through getting your womb ready, and I had fibroids, so I had to have surgery. And anyhow, finally we had those babies implanted, and I had no doubt I am going to get pregnant because I am obeying God. And I knew how that worked, right? I obey God and I get my straight paths. Well, I didn't get pregnant the first round, but I did the second round, and it was a gift because I had really surrendered that pretty easily, but it was a blessing to get to see that little baby grow inside of you. You guys know if you've had your own baby, it's an amazing miracle. So we got to have that weekly sonogram, and you just watch that little baby growing. And at 10 weeks, though, we went in for our sonogram, and there was no heartbeat. And I seriously didn't cry for an hour because I really couldn't believe it. I had never even questioned I'd have this baby because I was doing it out of obedience, and I went home and I was just so sad and heartbroken, and just thought, God, why would you ask me to do this? And then stomp on my heart. And to make matters worse, that week our son Ryan had a lot of developmental delays, so that very same week I'd taken him in to be tested, and he had autism. And so this is so funny because my husband, I was seriously having a little bit of a hard time, as you can imagine. And I remember I was crying and just calling out to God, and my husband comes home and he's like, sweetie, why are you crying? And I just never forget looking at him like, really? Really? You had to ask why am I crying? I just need a moment, okay? There were a lot of plans I had for Ryan. It's funny how I really thought I was surrendered to anything God wanted, but you have plans in your brain, whether you know you do or not. I said, I was already praying for his wife he'd marry someday, and there were just a few things I had planned for him that I need to grieve for just a minute. I'll be okay, I'll get over it, but you just got to give me a minute. And God, it was so sweet because God just quickly thereafter brought my life verse to mind, and he said, it was interesting because as I was questioning, why would you allow that, God, when I'm trying to obey you? Why would you allow that kind of pain in my life? And he really was saying to me, Shona, do you trust me when you don't understand? And if you think about my life first, I really skipped over that middle part, right? Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. And that's where I was like, I don't get this. Why would you do this to me? And he said, Shona, do you trust me? Do you really trust me, like when you don't understand? And I think that's a whole nother level of trust in God that he brings you to and allows. And he was there and comforted me and picked me back up. And you learn about God's love and care even in the pain that you don't learn anywhere else. And anyhow, so after becoming, we say, literate in all things autism, right? And it took a little while to kind of figure that path out and kind of recover from the miscarriage. And I told God, you have to show up in a burning bush. You wanted me to do that one again because I just get into the whole process again, and he really didn't ask me to. So we started praying again, and we said, God, again, we'll just really, any child you want, you just show us where we're supposed to go, what we're supposed to do. And he really told us to wait. And a few months later, we got a call about a baby just out of the blue that people were trying to find someone to adopt that was going to be born to a mom who had been, it's just hard to believe people live like this, but had been addicted to methamphetamine since she was 8. She was 21, having her 5th child. And she drinks, smokes, the whole 9 yards, homeless, the whole pregnancy, and all her kids had had a lot of trouble. But my husband and I said we prayed about it, and we both had a complete peace about adopting that baby. And you know, when you have peace about a situation like that, you're like, oh God, that must be because that humanly I shouldn't have peace about that. So we started praying for this child. We just started praying over that baby. You know, God, whatever, you protect it. You hold that baby in your hands and protect it through the pregnancy. And we were waiting because for a while they couldn't find her because she was homeless. And the baby was supposed to be born in May, and we got a call in April. And I'll never forget the phone call because I was expecting to kind of move forward and find out what was happening. And the lady on the phone told me that she had actually had an abortion at 7 months. I know. So another time I'm like, whoa, God, wow, that little one, And I had the sweetest picture, though, at that moment, almost immediately, of that little baby who was going to have probably a lot of problems here on earth, right? In the arms of Jesus. And I felt like God said to me, Shona, you know what? I wanted that baby to be loved and wanted, and I know I'll see that baby when I go to heaven someday. And it was loved and wanted, and even though you don't meet a child, when you start praying for somebody, your heart gets bound up with them. So I will be excited to meet. Heaven's going to be a fun reunion in a lot of ways, right? So again, we pick ourselves back up. We're like, okay, God, we want your will. So you just show us what you want us to do. And this time, my husband met a lady named Sarah Jensen who's in San Diego, and she does a ton of adoptions. And she let him know that she needed families who were willing to adopt any child. She had a lot of families who wanted the baby, whatever. We wanted whatever baby God had for us. So we said, oh, that's us. Maybe that's what we're supposed to do. And we prayed about it, and we felt led to do that. So we signed up with her, and the first birth mom we got matched with was a girl. She was 16. She had a 1.5-year-old. So she'd had this baby when she was 14. She is African American. They lived down in San Diego. She was taking care of her mom, because her mom was disabled, and this baby. And it was just a kid, just total little girl herself. And so little Evan was 18 months old, so I started spending time with her and trying to encourage her, and we were going to start. We went through a whole little training about how to adopt an older child, and kind of just slowly, and you start caring, when you're with them, you start caring for them, and slowly, gradually, it's a lot better for them. So, but I started realizing after a couple of weeks of spending time with Ashley and Evan that there was no way this girl was going to place this baby. She could not go to the bathroom without him. And as much as she knew she needed to, I think what she wanted us to adopt her, right? She can you adopt us both? She just needed a mommy herself, and was way too attached to place this baby. So I decided that I talked to our adoption person, and I said, I think maybe Ashley just needs a mentor, for now, and maybe we can just help her along. So I still spent time with her a little bit and tried to help her through things, but I felt like that wasn't going to happen. So we went back, and we ended up getting matched again shortly thereafter with another birth mom. Completely radical different situation. This was a mom she's an amazing girl, who'd gone on full scholarship to USC, but had gotten involved, kind of walked away from her walk with the Lord, and gotten involved with an older guy. And when she realized he wasn't a good man, had left the relationship, but 5 months later, she realized she was pregnant. She was 5 months pregnant. She just had been in denial the whole time. And so she and her family, this Christian family, and they had felt like if God had the right family, they knew this baby needed a mom and a dad, and didn't want it to have to get dragged through all of the custody. And so our hearts bonded, but after that, the birth father, basically, because he had money and means and really wanted control over her life, actually contested the adoption. So our adoption facilitator said, this is never going to happen, so you should just move on. And for some reason, God told my husband and I not to. He just said, I want you to wait, and they felt the same way. So she ended up having this baby. We went into the birth. We got real close with the family, and the whole time I'm like, God, I would love to be released from this situation, because Ariane's a great mom. Little Devon's going to be great. You know, I don't want to take this baby. You know, I really feel like you could release us, and that would be great. And to make matters worse, the adoption facilitator's calling us like every week. Are you guys done waiting? Because I have like 12 babies I need to place right now. And I'm begging God. I'm like, please, I don't need Devin. Please let us just move on. And my husband kept going, Shona, we don't want to pull an Ishmael. Okay, so he's from Abraham. And he's like, I just know we're supposed to wait. I have to say that was hard. I just trust in God when you don't. That's another one I didn't understand. Okay, Lord, I don't need this child. That's okay. Let us be released and go on. And he really, honestly, every time I prayed that, I knew it would be a sin for whatever reason to walk away from that one. So we stayed with that whole thing till she went to her baby dedication at 3 months. And at that point, all of us felt like God had released us. We remained, I'll just give you the side note, I just saw Ariane like a week ago. We're friends. She gets all our baby girl clothes. We have, a great relationship. So it's been a special relationship. She's had a rough road. Oh my word, that's a whole nother story. But I always tell her you're the poster child for just say no to sex out of marriage, because she has had a rough road. Anyhow, but moving on, so we felt released from that one finally, and of course all the babies were gone at that point, so we moved on, waited a little bit longer, and got matched again, and this time with a girl named Jessica, and she was raising a 1.5-year-old, and she had been in a canyon on drugs. Her mom was actually raising the baby at the time, and had gotten pregnant and felt like God, she was a Christian, she had a relationship with God at one point, and she felt like God had saved her from the canyon by getting her pregnant, but she was not supposed to keep this child. So I got pretty close with her during that time, because I think I got matched with her in September. She wasn't due till December. So it was quite a while. We spent a lot of time together, and of course, I'm very guarded at this point, right? Because I've been through a lot. My heart's been broken a few times, and I'm just holding off on thinking that maybe, I've really guarded my heart for a long time. But she she just kept saying, this is your baby. I want you to you need to get ready. You need to get a room ready. You need to get ready for this baby girl. So I eventually let my heart get excited. By the way, Denise walked this whole journey with me, so she's reliving it. But I let my heart get excited about it finally, and we made a baby girl room and named her Madeline Grace. And I would sit in the lighter rocker in that room and just pray over her, write journal entries about her. And so I'd gone to a couple even false alarms with her, and finally, right before she was ready to have the baby, I got a call from the adoption person saying she changed her mind. And that one was the hardest of them all, I will tell you, because I couldn't imagine pulling it together again to start over. I remember just being on the ground praying and really just completely brokenhearted at this point, and just asking God, what do you want? What do you want for us? Because maybe I'm not listening, and maybe you want something I'm not listening to. And almost audibly, he told me, he said, Shona, I want you to surrender having more kids. I never, ever, ever would have imagined him ask that of me. I mean, in my wildest dreams, right? Because I just always wanted to be a mom, and I felt like there's so many kids out there. I didn't have to be a mom I don't care what kids I'm a mom to, right? I just wanted to be a mommy. And because, I'd never really grieved infertility or even Ryan's autism, because I just known that was going to be a special journey, right? That I would get to experience, and I'd get to have grandkids and do all of that with my other kids, right? And so, man, I was sad. I don't get sad very often, but I was sad. My sweet friend Denise brought me, I'll never forget, it was Christmas time, and she brought me, I still have it, a dancing Santa that does this booty shake when it to cheer me up, because I was just so sad. And I was kind of, at this point, I'd always really easily pull myself back together and said, okay, God, I'm yours, take it. But then when he asked me to do that, I really had to fight him for a minute. I was like, I don't know, why would you ask that? I don't know if I want to do that. I don't really want to surrender that. That one's hard. And I grieved for about 10 solid days, which I know sounds very long, but it was long for me. I've never been sad more than a few hours probably in my life. I was just sad. I was in Mops still. I didn't want to go to Mops because I didn't want to see the pregnant women. I finally felt all that, people who have the hard time with that, and I just was like, I don't want to do this, God. Why would you ask that? So finally, about 10 days in, I said, okay, God, I've always said that my life is yours. That whatever, I trust you, right? And whatever you want for my life is what I want. And if that's what you want, then that's what I want. And I give it to you. I give you all the plans and dreams. And I felt like it was my little Isaac, I was going to lay in my Isaac, not as extreme, obviously, but in my life it was just I didn't know I had that kind of hold on anything in my life, and that one for me was it. And so I laid it on the altar and I said, okay, God, if that's what you want, then that's what I want. I'm yours, take my life. And man, I cannot tell you the peace that came. There's just this rock solid peace that comes, this unshakable, and joy, really true joy that I was okay, God has a plan, and I love you, and I trust you, and it was a gift to get to experience that. And so we moved on, and it was Christmas time, but right before Christmas, my mom called me and said, there's this couple in our church who has, look at me, that's wrong. Oh, no, not again. No. Exactly. I was like, good. I'm like, finally, I'm done with all this pain. I'm going to just move on. God has, maybe I'll work in an orphanage or, my mom called and said there's this couple raising grandkids in our church, and the pastor's wife's been talking to them about they should try to find a family. They want to meet you guys. And I said, well, okay, I guess. My husband and I thought, okay. But I was already convinced God didn't want this from me anymore. So we met them, but we talked to them. And the grandma said, she said that, this is how we left. She said, I don't even know where my daughter is. The daughter had all her rights. She was in rehab at the time, I think, but she didn't even know where to find her. And she said, if I have a chance, I'll breach the subject with her when I see her next time. And I'm thinking, after all the things we've been through, this is like as far out there as it could possibly get. So I really almost didn't give it a second thought. And after Christmas, it was about a week after Christmas, we get this call. My husband gets a call at night from the pastor's wife saying, okay, the birth mom's in town. She wants to place the kids with you, so you need to come up and meet her tomorrow morning and be ready to take the kids home. Literally, 9 o'clock at night. So we met her like at the I think at the IHOP right down, or Denny's. What is it down the road here? And, right in Temecula. And she, sure enough, she said, "Yep, I want you to adopt my kids." We met her for breakfast. I want you to adopt my kids. Jasmine was 3, Bryant was 2, or 1. Sorry, 1. We were like completely stunned, as you can only imagine. We found somebody to advise our rights that day, and that after we were driving home with the birth mom and her 2 children. And yeah, wow. I know, is that crazy? It's so crazy. Denise, remember, she came like the next, that day maybe even, or the next day. The next day, that's right, she was watching Ryan for me the whole time. So all of a sudden, we have 2 children. I mean, literally, it was just overnight crazy. I mean, just crazy. And I really held my breath. She has 30 days to change her mind. I thought, there's no way this is going to happen. And sure enough, it was final on Valentine's Day. And I'm going to cry. God changed my morning to dancing. He gave me, thank you. I'm like extra emotional anyhow. I'm like, oh gosh, I'm sharing this story. Yeah, if I could have picked kids in the world, like I just always said, God, whatever kids, but if I could pick 2 kids, it would have been just like them. Jazzy she looks like, I wish I could show pictures, she's the same height, we're like the same, short, and she's adorable and fun and spunky and likes everything I like. And my little guy, because Ryan with the autism, I always thought it'd be fun to have a little boy who liked to dance. And, I remember we took Brian to Chuck E. Cheese. He danced for like 30 minutes with Chuck E. Cheese. Just little things like that. But they were all 2 years apart. If I would have planned my family, that would have been perfect. 2 years apart, they have the perfect spread for birthday parties, which is like my passion in life. And it's just like God said, you know what, here you go. I'm just going to do this thing for you and for them. I mean, it's been an amazing journey with them. They're precious and they're gifts. And it's good to share this story because Jazzy just turned 12 and she has her moments these days, so that's just kids. Anyhow, no, but they're just amazing. And Psalm 30:11-12 says, you did it. You changed my wild lamenting into whirling dancing. You ripped off my black mourning band and decked me with wildflowers. I'm about to burst in song, and I cannot keep quiet about you, God, my God. I cannot thank you enough. And Psalm 34:15 says, the eyes of the Lord are on the righteous, and his ears are attentive to their cry. The righteous cry out, and the Lord hears them. He delivers them from their troubles. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. A righteous man may have many troubles, but the Lord delivers them from them all. So I just want to encourage you to trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he'll make your path straight. As a little extra cool little blessing, amazing ending to the story and I almost had Angeline here actually, which would have been kind of incredible, but God just loves to surprise us sometimes in other ways. And I was in a Bible study with a bunch of women, and one of the ladies was sharing that she was thinking of adopting these 3 kids. We've been hearing about these 3 kids who needed to be placed for adoption, and she already had 4, but she was just asking for prayer whether or not she should adopt these 3 kids. And in fact, it was crazy, I'll just add this one too. Another lady at the table, they didn't know that they were both considering adopting the same children. And we're at the same table, right? So my other friend, Kim, I'd been praying for her about these 3 kids because they didn't know if they wanted that many. And they were both one morning meeting with the birth mom unbeknownst to either one of them, right? So, but my friend Kim calls me all panicked. She's like, I've got to talk to you. I said, I got to talk to you too. Because did you know Angeline is the other family? And anyhow, she's like, no, I got to talk to you. And she said, you know this birth mom. And it was Jessica, the girl, Madeline Grace's mom, the one I prayed, was with for 3 months, and was the one right before Christmas, and that I prayed for in that chair for 3 months. She had another baby, she had 3 now, and she was needing to place them for adoption. We were all 3 at the same Bible study table. What is the chance of that? So then, and it was that crazy, Jessica ends up placing these children with my friend Angeline, and I ended up getting to meet little Madeline Grace. Isn't that incredible? In fact, not just meet her, I know I watched her grow up now because we're really good friends. We're at Bible study at their house every week. And and just to add, because God's a God of detail, and he just loves to show himself. I tell you what, her name was McKenna. And they decided to change the little boy's name because of safety issues. And so when they announced, and Angeline had no idea what we had named this little girl, right? So they told the family, we're going to change little Noah's name to Prince name Tristan because, they were just trying to make it sound fun, And so McKenna stands up and goes, and I want to change my name too, and I want it to be Madeline. You can't write this stuff, right? I mean, you just can't write this stuff. So later, and they ended up changing her name to Madeline. So, God's just a God of detail. He's just awesome. It's been so amazing to see his fingerprints and how he works. And I think if we don't trust him, we miss it. If we hold on tightly, you missed this crazy adventure. And Denise and I used to say, put your hands in the air, we go again. You know? It is a crazy adventure, and luckily I do like roller coasters, but yeah, God cares for you. She actually came up to me. I wish I had the picture. I had it in a binder and I can't find it now. At church, Madeline came up to me one day and gave me this rainbow picture and said, this is for you, I drew it. And on the back it said her name, she just changed it. And it said, God cares for us. I wish I had shown it at another talk, I couldn't find it. And I said, I just want to say, He does, Madeline. He cares for you, and He cares for you and your kids. And I just can't encourage you enough to surrender your life to Him. Give Him everything. Don't hold on. He has such a good plan for you. It may be painful. I mean, definitely painful because He likes to grow us, right? And we don't, unfortunately, grow when there's no pain. I just wish I could, but there's beauty. He's always there, and there's beauty in it in the end. And so my encouragement to you, as you raise those kids, as you love your husbands, as you walk through life's crazy journey, is to trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will make your path straight. So thank you for letting me be here. And I gave, you know what, I thought it would be fun, just for a second, because I like to sing. There's a little chorus in what are their names? I'm going to totally forget the band. Sorry. Anyhow, they're my favorites. Can't remember them all right now. It'll come to me at the end. But it's take my life, please take from me my life when I don't have the strength to give it away to you. And that's been a prayer to me sometimes, because I think sometimes we don't have the strength to give God our lives. And He does have that strength for us, though. And if you can sing it as a prayer, I'm just going to sing it, and then maybe you can join me. Super simple little chorus, and maybe we could just sing that as like a little prayer to Him right now to close. Please take from me my life when I don't have the strength to give it away to you. Let's try that. Please take from me my life when I don't have the strength to give it away to you. Please take from me my life when I don't have the strength to give it away to you, Jesus. Let's sing it one more time. Please take from me my life when I don't have the strength to give it away to you. Please take from me my